Red Sucker Lake First Nation in Manitoba is still under a state of emergency because of a suicide crisis after 2 people died and more than 17 attempts in recent weeks. They currently only have 1 full-time community safety officer. Now, that person's on hand to help with a population of more than 1,100 people. So we're joined from Winnipeg by Indigenous advocate and former Grand Chief Sheila North. Welcome back to your morning.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie.
How does calling a state of emergency help Red Sucker Lake?
Well, I think that at this point they feel at a loss in a lot of ways. They need help from other members of society outside of the community to address this crisis right now that they're under. I think the constant loom of suicide, unfortunately, is a constant in many First Nations, and this has become a big problem, as you see in Red Sucker Lake. So more resources is needed, and to address specifically the hopelessness feeling that a lot of young people have when they live in a lot of isolated communities. Is a very sad and scary situation.
Help us understand that a bit more, Sheila. What are some of the major issues facing youth in First Nations communities like Red Sucker Lake?
I think you just have to imagine living in a community where you don't have access to the outside world. You don't have access to a good education that you feel like you're going to be doing something with your future with. And, you know, just a general feeling of hopelessness and loneliness that comes when you can't see what the next day or your future will look like. And so a lot of young people feel that, and unfortunately that has existed in many First Nations across Canada, and the pandemic has made things even worse.
Mm-hmm. We know that for all communities across Canada, that situation, as you just said, is worse. There's a shortage of mental health support workers. But when you're dealing with a community where there's been 17 attempts in recent weeks, that's a lot of people in critical care that need immediate support. What would be most useful at this time?
Well, I think that question is being explored right now, but the best solutions are going to be coming from the community. And I understand, I talked to Chief Sam Knott yesterday about it, and they're holding a press conference tomorrow to lay out some specifics that they are hoping for, led by the Indigenous people themselves. But, you know, addressing the poverty and the lack of proper education, the lack of resources, and even housing is at a critical stage. Some families are 3 generations in 1 3-bedroom wood structure house, and imagine being a teenager trying to have a life and trying to, you know, access, you know, even the internet to see what the rest of the world is doing, and not having that, and not even having a proper place to sleep every night it's very discouraging. So I think that a lot of the solutions will have to be combined with what the Indigenous people are asking for, but also, you know, things that work, programs that work and inspire young people.
Yeah, and I want to start on that point there as well. This is not the first time we've heard of a First Nations community having to declare a state of emergency because of suicides or suicide attempt. I feel like we do this story every year. What needs to be done systemically to make sure that this doesn't happen, that we don't get to the crisis point?
This is, you know, about dignity and respect for people that are from their own country, right? And you know, I don't want to get right into the whole history of it, because I think we all know now what the history of Indigenous people are. Mm-hmm. But if we start to address these in society of you know, including Indigenous people in this country, and we might say that we do in this country, but we don't, not always, and that's why young people are feeling hopeless. So we need to find ways to make sure that their communities are getting what they need for resources. Some small community like that with 1,100 people will probably get a third of the money from Ottawa that's called contribution agreements that covers the needs, not the whole 1,100. So maybe they have enough resources for 500 to deal with everything from water and you know, access to proper housing, and even roads, maintaining roads and things like that. So we're ignoring the problem by not addressing the real issues, and the real issues are making Indigenous people more relevant and treating them as sovereign, honorable citizens in our own country.
We'll wait for that press conference by the chief and find out what needs to be done in the immediate now to help take care of that problem. Sheila, thanks so much.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.